All right, folks, we already know that student loans are up to $1.7 trillion total balance here in America. And student loans has now turned to pretty much a cultural thing. You know, people don't really think twice when it comes to applying or getting a student loan because it's just the way to go. But what if there were another route, another way of doing things when it comes to financing education? And that's precisely why I wanted to focus on this video on the problem with student loan in America. Because I'm going to share with you some of the facts when it comes to the news around student loans forgiveness, for example. That's number one. And then I'm going to also point you to something that lots of people, lots of students, it doesn't matter the field, whether you're going to business school, law school, medical school, or any other type of school, is something people tend to overlook. But at the end of the day, that is the bottom line. So it makes the problem not as complicated as people would think, just because they don't want to think through. So let me share with you a quick story. And this story is pretty much the story of many millions of Americans here. All right, going to college ruined my life. I have $85,000 in student loan debt for my useless degree, but only make $16 per hour. How can I cope? Well, you can find this article on MarketWatch, and I'm going to post the link down there in the description video, and you feel free to actually go ahead and check it out. So, question. This is a 32-year-old guy who is writing to MarketWatch about his student loan situation. I am 32 and got my associate degree in occupational therapy. I owe $25,000 in federal student loans and $60,000 private loans with high interest, despite having my mom as a cosigner. How? I went to a great college. Okay. It was private and costly, but I have learning challenges that were able to accommodate. But I will never forget, back in the beginning of 2018, my professors told me that by the time my classmates and I graduated, we will likely struggle to get jobs because of changes in the profession. Well, they were right. And of course, after I took out these huge loans, it was too late to fix it. So I graduated, the pandemic hit, jobs were scarce, and despite looking and applying for whatever I could for almost 2 years, it didn't matter. So now I'm going on 8 years at my job in a group home where I'm paid $16 an hour. I work over 50 hours a week sometimes, and I also support a severely disabled adult who is 100% financially dependent on me. On $16 per hour. Man, that must be tough. I'm barely making it paycheck to paycheck as it is. Yeah, you go without saying, man. I feel like I will never be able to afford my payments. Even if I find higher paying work, I feel like I have a useless degree at this point. I would give anything to go back and not go to college at all. It wasn't worth it. My credit score plummeted from missing one payment, and I already have a mountain of other bills I owe to credit cards and medical bills. I literally am trapped by these loans. I have no payment options that will ever pay them off, and refinancing is not an option because my credit score is so low. Whew. All right. Not really interesting as story here because, first off, this is unfortunately the story of many, many, many young adults that face themselves into this situation in one of the greatest countries the earth have ever seen. So what is the problem with this? I think it's so obvious. It is not that credits or student loan is bad, but he mentioned that going to college was a mistake because the reason or the degree he was pursuing going to college and pushing him into this huge amount of debt actually didn't pay off. And as a result, he's now finding himself into this situation where he feels trapped because the money he's making is not even enough for him to be living paycheck to paycheck. And on the other side, he's crumbling below a mountain of critical bills, medical bills, and any other type of bills. So yeah, I definitely feel him because I felt that way couple of years ago. I mean, not couple, many years ago. I felt like this guy, because even if I wasn't as old when I figured this out, I was still crushed by a significant amount of debt. And most of that debt was student loan. But with my experience with investing, with my experience in managing money, with my experience in personal finance, and now that I'm 12, 15 years out of college, well, I find out that, yeah, it's true. College may be overrated, but the bottom line with student loan and the way we should approach college is the same way we should do when it comes to building a business. It's the same thing when we approach to and when it comes to managing money. It's all about return on investment, ROI. Why? Because here's the thing, folks. On one hand, in the US, in America, going to college, getting educated, it's one of the greatest chances you are getting yourself in order to get ahead financially in life. Not only financially, but mostly all the major, because for me personally, going to school is not about learning something precisely. It's about getting your mind open to so many opportunities to see different things, different ways of thinking, having that critical thinking that would allow you to be a young, functional adult in life and productive, not only for you, but also for your household. So that's number one. Number two, if you decide to go to college, all right, if you don't have the money, like I didn't have the money, my parents didn't have the money to pay for my college education, and that's what pushed me into going into student loan. But before that, I knew that if I take this amount of student loan, then I will be able to repay based on the salary projected from the career path I chose. So because I went to study finance or financial markets and investment, I knew that I had a better chances of having some level of salary that will allow me to repay my debt by this amount, X amount of years. All right. So that's one thing. The other thing is, if you have people like parents or grandparents or family members or somebody that can push you, and get behind you and support you while you're going to school and paying for your tuition, so that you won't have to worry about student loan while at school and definitely once after school, then yeah, it's a great advantage you might have. But this advantage is unfortunately not the case for, I will say, 95% of people willing to go to college out there. So the solution to this might be that, think about something or choose a career that will be a high paying career. And by high paying, I'm being subjective here, all right? So I'm not asking people or asking you to do something you don't like, but choose something that will actually be giving you a return on investment. I mean, if you do something, if you choose a certain major in college, you can have the guarantee, all right? Even though nothing is guaranteed, but you can have the guarantee that on the other side of college, you might have a job, and by getting experience, by acquiring and building your belt within that career path or that field, you will have the chance to attain a certain level that will give you a minimum paying salary. And by the years going, you will have then the chance to start paying more and more and more towards that debt. All right. So to me, that is the bottom line. Return on investment, because it is not worth going into hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of student loan for something that's going to only pay you $16 per hour. That is not enough. That is not enough, especially if you want to have a family. So I think if more and more people are willing to see and approach the going to college thing in America this way, then we'll have a less stressful people having to worry about repaying student loan. I mean, it's not as straightforward as it sounds when I'm speaking about it now, but that is the way I see it. That's the way that worked for me, and also that's the way that worked when you do the math. So people, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Am I wrong to actually see things that way, or Is there something significantly wrong or structurally wrong with the system around college here in America and student loan? Tell me.